Good morning, children. Welcome back to today's session. Children, yesterday we started a new unit, nationalist movement, which is early phase, and I told you that there are two phases from 1919 to 1947. We shall read under the last phase. That last phase we also called it as a Gandhiji's phase. But this is the first phase. It is from 1885 to 1919. So the period, the great events which occurred between this period, we try to read under this unit. We have seen the early associations founded by people like Dadabhai Naoroji, the East India Association in London. There were numerous associations got created or established at the provincial level, at Bombay, at Pune, at Madras, at Calcutta. There are many associations which have come up. So when we talk about these associations, the people like K.C. Telang, Badruddin Tyabji, Subramaniam Iyer, these are the people who played a very important role in bringing the people, in mobilizing the people over the issues. Today we shall learn about a common platform on the basis of all India level, which got established in 1885, and how they identified a nationalistic zeal, or how they had penetrated the national consciousness among the people. We shall understand in today's class. So all these provincial nationalistic intellectuals, they had come together, and the first session of Indian National Congress was held. Indian National Congress, it is INC, Indian National Congress. This is a Congress party. Indian National Congress got established in 1885. The first session was held at Bombay, and this was presided over by W.C. Banerjee. This session was attended by 72 delegates from different parts of the country. 72 delegates attended this one. The early leaders like Dadabhai Naoroji and even W.C. Banerjee, Badruddin Tyabji, and Feroz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Banerjee, Subramaniam Iyer, among others, largely people from Bombay province, Madras and Kolkata province attended this session. Apart from them, a British retired officer by name A.O. Hume, he also played an important role in the establishment of the INC, Indian National Congress. Even though he is a British officer, he helped in the creation of this party. And the leaders of the Congress realized the foremost task before them was to build a national consciousness among the diverse people of India. Yesterday I was telling you, India is a land of diversity. Different languages are there, different kinds of people are there, okay, different traditions are there, different lifestyles are there. India is a land of diversity. So bringing them together is the foremost task of all these leaders. And in order to achieve this one, they realized that this unity could be built only by accommodating special requirements of different regions and religious communities of India. If they can accommodate these interests of the region as well as these religions, then all can be binded together. The unity can be achieved. They therefore decided to hold the Congress session every year in different parts of the country. The first session was held in Bombay. The next session was not held in Bombay. It was moved to other place so that it can understand the various issues across the country and they can address them. That's the reason the sessions were held every year in different parts of the country. And they also have decided that they shall not pass any resolution which will be objected by any one religious group. That means, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the regional interests, they wanted to build a kind of atmosphere in the organization. The second major objective of the early Congress was to create a common platform or program around which the political workers in different parts of the country could gather and conduct their campaigns. Campaign in the sense publicity, prachar. They wanted to conduct various political activities under this platform. A common platform is required. That was the foremost objective, second objective of the establishment of the Congress. First is to unite and enhance the national consciousness. Second is to build a common platform. They wanted to bring together, gather and educate the political activities and mobilizing people on an all India basis, not to the provincial level, not to the provinces. If there is an issue in Madras, only Madras people, Madras province people will come against to the rule. But they wanted to build a consciousness across the country. In all provinces with their call, the people can be mobilized. Such kind of platform they wanted to build, which had in common in relation to the rulers. They studied the grievances of these. Grievance means complaints of the rulers, of the people, and wrote appeals to the government and also used them to educate the people about their political rights. Because these are the intellectuals, mostly they held the public lectures. What should be done and what cannot be done. Okay, what are the political rights of the people? They started educating them with the public lectures. So, if there are any grievances, complaints which have come from the side of the people, they used to write petitions to the government. Whether the government listens to them or not is a secondary thing, but writing is their foremost objective. The third major objective was to promote the democratic ideals and functioning in India. This is the most important thing, because even though there was a revolt in 1857, but there was no vision for them. But whereas Indian National Congress has got a vision of a democratic functioning, that is the future of India. The Indian National Congress functioned democratically, discussing all the issues and trying to create a consent or consensus. Consensus means ekabhiprayam. सभी लोग मान लिया तो they have passed the resolution. So mostly they created consensus. It is called as consensus, single opinion. It's called as consensus. It's called as single opinion. There will be no second opinion in this. They try to run it democratically and on the basis of consensus. And sometimes they also used voting, which is a form of democracy, you know. The entire Congress has run on the basis of democratic principles. At this stage, Indian National Congress decided not to take up issues regarding the social reforms, because it would divide the people, Indian people, and reforms would be carried by the different forums, which will be carried out through different forums, but not by the party. For example, Kandukuri Veerashalingam is there. He is a campaigner of against to the practices like widow remarriages. He was in favor of widow remarriages, and he was against to the child marriages, Kanya Shulkam. So even though he was an active member in the forum, but he also participated in the Congress sessions, Kandukuri Veerashalingam. So there are many such social issues, social reforms which were to be carried out, but it may divide the people on the basis of the religion. For that reason, Congress did not take up such issues. In 1886, it was in the second session in 1886, from 72 delegates, the number of delegates has increased to 436 were elected to the Congress by different local organizations and groups, indicating its popularity in 1 year. So 72 delegates have increased to 436 and they were elected by the local organizations, which shows that in 1 year the popularity of the Congress has increased. That means the objectives what they have mentioned were good. And hereafter the Indian National Congress started meeting every year in different parts of the country in the months of December, because the first session was held in December 1885. So every year in December they started meeting in different parts of the countries. The number of delegates soon increased to 1,000. Its delegates were mostly lawyers, journalists, traders, industrialists, and even teachers and landlords. There were very few women participated in the Congress. One such woman from Bengal was a Kadambari Ganguly, who was the first graduate from Calcutta. Kadambari Ganguly, she is the first woman graduate from Kolkata. This is one of the most important question, children. She is a woman graduate, first woman graduate in India. Okay. So women also participated in the Indian National Congress meeting sessions. Mostly men from higher social background participated in these sessions. During the first 20 years, the Congress was led by moderate nationalists. What is this moderate nationalists? I will further elaborate it. But remember this one, the first 20 years of Congress was dominated by these, their policy was little moderate. The moderates urged the government, urged in the sense they have requested the government to introduce a number of reforms, changes in the policies of the government. And they demanded a greater voice of Indians in the administration. Whether the British government accepted these all? Never. But they had requested, they had prayed. And these moderate nationalists wanted the Imperial Legislative Council to be made more representative and given more power and introduced in provinces where none existed. They demanded the Indians to be placed in higher positions in the government even. For this purpose, it called for civil services examination to be held even in India, which was conducted only in London previously. You know, Indian civil services, like the posts of collector, SPs, revenue officers, higher position, higher grade positions will be filled up, recruited by this examination. This examination will be conducted only in London. But these Congress people asked the government even to conduct it in India, and even Indians will also have the chance to write the examination. The demand for Indianization, Indianization means to keep more Indians in the administration, was part of a movement against to the racism. You know it, most of the higher positions were filled up with the white people, that is by the Britishers. That is the monopoly of the white Europeans, either the Britishers or any other Europeans. They were the officers in the entire administrative setup. Leaders like Nauroji, R.C. Dutt and Ranade studied the impact of British rule and concluded at the end that Britishers were draining India of her wealth and leaving her poorer and poorer through the taxes and land revenue. They drew attention to the problem of poverty and famines and blamed it on the British policies of excessive land tax and the exporting of food grains to their own country. The Congress passed many resolutions to protest against the salt tax, their treatment of Indian laborers abroad, and the sufferings of the forest dwellers and the rights over the forests. The early leaders were convinced of the need for national industrial development to end the poverty in India, because India day by day is becoming poor and poorer. In order to end that one, industrial development, because world is getting industrialized, but no big industries are being set up in India. And even if they are set up, the Indian goods were not made to sell in the market. The British goods or the England goods, enabling them to sell it at a lower price than the Indian goods, which restrained the Indian crafts and Indian industries. The moderate leaders reached out to the people in different parts of the country by holding lectures, by meetings, and by their tours. They tried to explain to the people how the British policies carry an impact on the Indian economy. They believed that British were committed to freedom and justice and would accept it, the demands, when they are properly expressed. They carried on their agitation through newspapers, public lectures, writing articles in the newspapers, and by giving the lectures in a group. They passed resolutions, they led deputations to submit petitions to the government. In short, it may be said that pray, petition, and protest. Now I'll tell you the meaning of this moderate. Pray, petition, and protest. The people who followed this method of agitation are called as moderate nationalists. So tomorrow, children, we shall further understand about this moderate and extremist nationalism. Thank you.